Hello everyone, welcome to Concept X. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the immunity and different types of immunity. So what is immunity? It is the body's ability to resist the infections or we can say diseases. So it is the ability of our body to resist any kind of infections. If any viruses, any pathogens, any invaders, antigens enter inside our body, so our body will try to kill all of those foreign invaders, and it will resist those possible infections and diseases. So that immunity, it's that capability and capacity of our body to resist all those kind of infections. So this immunity could be two types. Number one, that is innate immunity. Number one, it will be innate. Innate immunity. And number two is acquired immunity. So innate immunity is what? Innate immunity is about the first line of defense. First line of defense, that is our, for example, skin. So if we go through a little about the innate immunity, then we'll get to know that innate immunity, it could be innate immunity. It could be one type of very good example of innate immunity is our skin, or it is the first protective barrier. It is the protective barrier. Skin is our protective barrier. We all know, we all have the skin, and that skin is the first line of defense. It's first protect. If any virus, pathogen, invaders try to enter inside the body, then skin surface will resist their entry. So skin, it could be type of we can say it's a component of innate immunity. So they're very fast and they're non-specific. Any virus, any pathogen, if it enters, our skin will stop all of them. They're not specific to some kind of viruses or pathogens. Another example, in our stomach we have hydrochloric acid. It is acid and pH is very low pH, means it's very highly acidic. So that hydrochloric acid, it is also destroy lots of bacteria or pathogens. So it is another type. In our saliva we have lysozyme. Lysozyme, it also kills lots of bacteria. So these are some good example of the components of innate immunity. Means they are not specific to some kind of virus or bacteria. Understood? They are non-specific. They are non-specific. They will try to kill any kind of bacteria, viruses, pathogen, anything. So these are innate immunity, and they continuously trying to kill all those bacteria without any specifications. So it is innate immunity is also known as the first line of defense. First line of defense. So this is our innate immunity. Now if we come to the acquired immunity, acquired immunity is little bit difficult and little bit complex. Acquired immunity means our body acquired that immunity, maybe from natural sources or maybe from artificial sources. Maybe it is the active acquired immunity, maybe it is passive immunity. Means our body, inside our body, maybe our body by itself make those antibodies, that if our body make the antibody make the antibody, then our body is making that antibody, then it will be your we can say active. It will be active immunity, active acquired immunity. Acquired means our body is getting that immunity, maybe from active source, maybe from passive source. If body get that immunity in ready-made form, if it is ready-made form, if it is getting the antibodies in ready-made form, then it will be known as passive. Then it will be known as the passive one. Means ready-made antibodies are coming, ready-made form of antibody. Ready-made form of antibody, if you are getting such antibody, that will be known as your passive one. That will be passive. If our body is making the antibody by itself, then it will be active. In both the case, body is getting antibodies, right? In both the case, body acquired an antibody, maybe by making those antibody by itself, or maybe getting those antibody in the ready-made form. Ultimately, it is going inside the body. Ultimately, body is getting some sort of antibodies. Maybe body is by cooking itself, it's make the antibodies, or maybe in ready-made form, from somewhere it is getting. But in both the cases, body is acquiring that antibody. Body is getting these antibodies. Now we will see in detail about what are the different types of active and passive immunities are there. One thing clear, that what is active acquired immunity and what is passive acquired immunity. It is the basic difference. Basic difference is that in active immunity, active acquired immunity, body is making those antibodies by itself. Or in passive immunity, body is getting ready-made form of antibodies without any kind of self-investment. Without any investment, body is by ready-made form, it's getting those antibodies. Now we will see a little bit about what are the different types of active and passive immunities. So first, let's go to the active acquired immunity. First, suppose active acquired immunity. If I'm going to the active acquired immunity, this active acquired immunity is two types. It is two types. Number one type is natural, and number two, artificial. Natural active immunity. Now see, active immunity means body by itself will make those antibodies against some sort of antigens. Now, how body will make? One classic example. Let's take one example that one person is got infected with chickenpox. One person is got infected with chickenpox. Now that chickenpox, that pathogen, it will enter. Suppose this is chickenpox pathogen. It will enter inside the human body. It enters inside the human body. That inside the body, live pathogens. Okay, these are live, very deadliest. Live pathogen, live, completely fresh. Live pathogens just somehow enter inside this human body. This is a human body. Then that after a certain period of time, the person will become very weak. Chickenpox, those blisters will start developing all around the body parts. Now slowly the person will recover from that disease. Most of the time you have seen, I guess, when chickenpox develops, after 2 to 3 weeks, person is become completely well. How? When for the very first time, when chickenpox enters inside the body of the person, then he will make the antibody against that chickenpox. he has now antibody of chickenpox. Now, as he has antibodies of chickenpox, now you see he is getting the antibody, means he is acquiring the antibody, but he is acquiring those antibody because of the infection, which is because of some natural infection. Naturally, nobody has entered the chickenpox pathogen inside his body. Automatically, from the nature, it enters inside his body. So from natural sources, he is developing these antibodies, not directly from natural sources. From nature, chickenpox enter inside his body, and then he will make those antibodies against the chickenpox. Means from the nature, by default, automatically he or she develops the antibodies against that infection. What infection? Chickenpox. Nobody has entered, and even these chickenpox are also very live chickenpox. These viruses are very live. This pathogen is very raw, deadliest. So when this pathogen enters, he automatically develops some antibodies, and these antibodies will kill those chickenpox pathogens, and he will get rid of that disease. This is natural. This is natural active. Means our body is making those antibodies by itself. Body is making those antibodies by itself. That's why it is known as active immunity. And he is acquiring, that's why it is acquired immunity. Body by itself making those antibodies from some natural infections. That is active acquired immunity, and it is natural active acquired immunity. Now we will see what is artificial. Artificial, suppose this is another chickenpox or any other pathogens, and we kill the pathogen. And these are the small fragments of those pathogens, and now we took an injection and we entered those small body fragments, dead, very weak killed, dead body fragments of some pathogens, and we'll put it inside the injection, and then we give that injection to this human. Now this human are getting some sort of weak bacteria, weak pathogens, weak foreign invaders. These are not live. Here in natural case it was the live one, Jinda, but here it is very weak, dead bacteria, dead pathogen, and these are the small body fragments of that bacteria and pathogens. And now we put it inside the injection, and we'll directly give it inside the human. Now this human body will first, it will go and see that these are not live bacteria, but these are the body fragments of the bacteria. But still he can assume that what kind of bacteria or pathogen that could be by thoroughly examining the different body fragments of the bacteria. He can easily recognize, and then he will make the antibody. And then he will make the antibody against that body fragments of the bacteria. So this is actually known as, example is vaccine. Vaccine, actually this one. This is the vaccine. In vaccine, we give artificial active acquired immunity. In the vaccine, mostly we have dead, killed, or weak bacteria, weak pathogens, not bacteria obviously, always weak pathogens, or the body fragments, of some bacteria, of some pathogen, body fragments of some pathogen. We kill it, we'll make it in small pieces, and we'll put it inside the injection, and then we'll put it inside the human body. Then this human will easily recognize, our body, that human body will easily recognize that what are the body fragments of what is the actual bacteria. he can easily recognize that these are the body fragments of that bacteria or that pathogen, and he will ultimately make the antibodies. Here directly live pathogen enters, but here death pathogen enters. In both the cases, our body will make the antibodies, and that's why it is known as active. It is active acquired immunity. In both the cases, body by itself making those antibodies. That's why it is active acquired immunity. In one, natural means from nature by default that pathogen enters, and here we forcefully in the form of vaccine we entered those, we put it inside the human body. In both the case, antibodies develop. So that's why it is known as natural, it is known as artificial. Now let's come to the last point, that is passive acquired immunity. Passive acquired immunity is also could be two types. One will be natural, one would be artificial. One would be natural, one would be artificial. In natural, we can find very good example is when a mother feed her milk to the child. Mostly the first mother milk, the colostrum. The colostrum, it has the highest amount of antibodies. We know by definition that passive immunity means ready-made form, ready-made antibodies. We are getting ready-made antibodies. Our body will never make that antibody. We are getting ready-made antibodies. So how will we get the ready-made antibodies? From natural source also we can get the ready-made antibodies, and from artificial source also we can get the ready-made antibodies. So natural source, very good example is when mother feed her milk to the child, so some sort of antibody will go along with that milk. And one example is immunoglobulin G, IgG antibody. That IgG antibody will directly flow from mother to the child through the milk. So can we say it is the natural process? When mother feeding her child, it is a natural process, it's not artificial process. It is natural process. So naturally antibodies are flowing from mother to child. So it is known as natural passive acquired immunity. When it is natural, because naturally along with the milk automatically antibodies are flowing. We are not giving any injection, any saline, nothing. Automatically, naturally it is flowing, and so child is getting some sort of ready-made antibodies. That antibody, IgG antibody, it is present in the milk. So the child is getting automatic ready-made form of IgG antibody, IgG immunoglobulin is an antibody. So IgG antibody, the child is getting ready-made antibodies from the natural sources in the form of milk. Now if we come to the last one, what is artificial? Artificial means ready-made form of antibodies. Artificially we will inject inside a human body. Very good example for, let's take example that one person is got bitten by a mad dog, bitten by a mad dog. If a person is got bitten and by a mad dog, then that person may got infected with a very deadliest virus, which is rabies. So that human, it cannot wait to develop. That virus will directly go inside him, just like the chicken pox. So when it is going to the body, in chicken pox we have seen that the chicken pox when those pathogen enters, automatically our body will start making those antibodies, but it will take time. It is active process, it is take times. But rabies is very deadliest. as rabies is very deadly as, and it is 100% fatal, 100% death is confirmed. So while rabies enters inside the human body, that person cannot wait for producing his or her own antibodies, because it will take time, and during that time, in the meanwhile, rabies will kill that person. So we need immediate antibodies. So that's why we will take some ready-made antibodies, some injection. So in that injection, we have ready-made form of antibody. If person is got bitten by a mad dog, then it rabies virus will be there, then that antibodies will be rabies antibodies. So it is a very good example of artificial passive immunity, passive acquired immunity. Means artificially we are getting some ready-made antibodies. These are ready-made antibodies. Why we need to take ready-made antibodies? Our body will surely, it will make the antibodies, but it will take time, and we don't have that time to allow our body to make his or her own antibodies, because in the meanwhile, rabies virus is 100% fatal, it will kill the person. So we cannot wait to produce our own antibodies. So that's why we need a ready-made antibodies. So when the person is got bitten by a dog, within 1 or 2 hours, we need to put that rabies antibodies. We need ready-made antibodies, so that this antibody can fight against that rabies virus and it can kill it. So this is the overall artificial passive acquired immunity. In both the case, in natural also and in artificial also, in both the case, we are not making the antibodies from external sources. We are getting the antibodies in the form of mother milk. The child is getting the antibodies. It is natural process, and it is artificial process. We are injecting from external sources. We are injecting. It's natural. We are injecting the antibodies into that person's body. So that's why it is known as artificial. In both the cases, we are getting the antibodies from external sources. That's why it is passive. And in case of active, if we see, in both the cases, the person is developing the antibodies by his or her own. In naturally, when chickenpox enters inside the human body, they develop the antibodies, and here small body fragments. In artificial active immunity, body fragments, we are not injecting. In rabies in the antibody, we directly injecting the antibody, but here we are not injecting the antibody. Instead, we are injecting the body fragments of that pathogen, and when those body fragments of the pathogen enters, our body will make the antibody against those pathogens by closely monitoring different body fragments. So they will easily remember that, yes, these are the body fragments of that bacteria or that pathogen, and according to that, antibodies will be developed. So I hope it is clear for you, both active and passive immunity, and we have also discussed about the innate immunity. So if you have any questions, you can directly ask me in the comment section. I'll be very much happier to help you. And please, if you have liked the video, then please to subscribe the channel and share it. And again, I'm saying, if you have any confusion, any doubts, you can directly ask in the comment section. I'll definitely try to resolve your queries. Thank you for watching.